What's going on, you guys? So, about to call it a weekend of working on the car. Been thrashing pretty hard the last couple days, so let's go ahead, cover what we got done this weekend. So, first thing I did on Friday, I built the throttle cable for the car, routed in, and it goes to the bracket down there. Only cost about $8 to make that. So we definitely saved some cash on buying a throttle cable, or even going to a junkyard and getting a throttle cable. The junkyard wanted like $15 for a cable or some shit like that. It was ridiculous. So found that on Summit, made that work, got that done. Yesterday we went ahead and added a oil cooler. So you can see oil cooler down there. We have an oil cooler and an AccuSump system in the vehicle now. So that's all installed and routed, ready to go. Huge shout out to Canton Racing for hooking us up with that for the car. Canton Racing has been a big supporter of mine for the Mustang, the GTO, the RX-7. They've been there since almost day one. So big shout out to them for stepping up and helping us out with some stuff on this vehicle. I can't stress the importance of protecting your engine and the oiling system enough. So I've said it in the past, and now we got it on this car too. While I was working on the car, I went ahead, routed almost all of the vacuum lines and stuff, routed the map sensor up. This is for the blow-off valve right here, which is on the charge pipe over there. And we've got the wastegate line routed, all that. As you can see, the transmission is finally in the car. The old slave cylinder was really, really bad. So that was definitely something that needed to be done. So slave cylinders were cheap. It was like $10 for a slave cylinder or something like that. So not nearly a big dent in the budget or anything like that. Started routing out the oil return line for the turbo. So that's one thing we're still waiting on. Hot side for that GTW Garrett turbo. At this point, that's pretty much the last piece of the puzzle that we're waiting on. I do need to get a belt and build an upper radiator hose still. I'd say the hardest thing we had to do this weekend was probably put the transmission in. The clearance between the firewall down there is pretty tight. So what we actually ended up doing was we unbolted the... there's a bee. What we ended up doing was we unbolted the motor mounts and hooked the engine hoist up to it, lifted the engine up and pulled it forward. That's why the radiator's not in there. That way it gave us enough clearance to get the transmission up past the tunnel onto the engine. Made it 10 times easier. It went on first go as soon as we did that. So we probably messed with it for like 45 minutes trying to get it in there and just couldn't get it in there. So I was like, let's just undo the motor mounts and pull the engine forward, and within 10 minutes it was in the car. So for next time, now I know. So now inside the car we actually have the shifter coming out through the dash, and center console and all that stuff's all screwed back in, put back together. Pretty much everything on the inside of the car is buttoned up and done. Just got to get a shift knob though. The car actually didn't even have a shift knob when I bought it, so yeah, got to get one of those. Probably gonna throw this exhaust system sitting in the back of the car on. Now that the trans is on, I can mount that all up. Probably do that next weekend. I got to pull the seat back out, clean the brackets up, paint them, and then tighten all that stuff down. Probably build a harness bar too, because that seat, it's not really safe to run a seat like that with a standard 3-point harness. So probably gonna build a harness bar and get a set of 4-point harnesses for it. One thing I did forget to tell you guys about. So that bell housing I was waiting to get for like the last month and a half or whatever. I drove 200 miles to go pick it up because the deal was $60 for a bell housing. Got back home. It was the exact same bell housing that I already had. Luckily, the guy I bought it from was cool about it. I told him what the deal was, and he refunded my money immediately. It was super apologetic. He bought it thinking it was an SC300, SC300 bell housing, and he never used it, so he never knew that's what it actually wasn't. But it was an M-Series bell housing. Luckily, I was able to find one locally from a local drifter, Adam Schmidt. He had one on hand, and he was able to hook me up with that for $100. So we spent $40 more than we were originally planning to, but you know, that $40 plus the $10 slave cylinder that I bought puts our budget. I'd have to double check real quick. So last week we were at $2,300. I spent $100 on a bell housing, so that's $2,400. $10 on that slave cylinder, trans fluid, oil. I didn't need to buy spark plugs because this actually had brand new NGK iridiums in it, but I think we are at like $2,480 right now, so we're still, you know, $500 under budget, and I think we're gonna get this car done with a lot of overhead. I'm probably speaking too soon, but I mean, I already have fluids, all that stuff in our shelves laying around here. I have plenty of spare oil, trans fluid, brake fluid, all that, so I don't need to go out and buy any of that stuff. It's been sitting around for a while, so I mean, we're almost done. Hopefully we'll be able to get this thing fired up as soon as that turbine housing comes in. Oh, I need to make a upper radiator hose. That's it. That upper radiator hose, a belt, a couple small things, but I don't see $500 left to spend to get this car done. So, where should I spend the last $500? You guys tell me. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think I should do with the remainder of the cash I have for the budget. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow the build along. That's going to be it for this one, so I'll catch you guys later.